The struggle for women's voting rights in America began over 170 years ago and culminated in the ratification of the 19th Amendment in 1920. The Oregon Historical Society commemorates the centennial of the 19th Amendment and the women and men who fought for women's suffrage with the exhibit, Nevertheless They Persisted, Women's Voting Rights and the 19th Amendment. The exhibit explores the diverse and evolving history of the women's rights movement in America, from the Seneca Falls Convention in 1848 to the marches and protests of the 19-teens, as well as the continuing work towards equal rights and the achievements that have followed, and the racism and exclusionism that pervaded the American suffrage movement throughout its long history. With over 120 unique artifacts and more than 80 compelling images, most directly from the collections of the Oregon Historical Society, the exhibit highlights the stories of some of the women and men who fought for and achieved women's voting rights, both nationally and locally. Some are figures whose names are well known, while others have received little recognition for their important work towards equal rights. The actions of these women and men led to the eventual achievement of voting rights for all, with the 19th Amendment and the Voting Rights Act that followed. The movement began in America as activists formed suffrage conventions and organizations. Oregon's first statewide suffrage organization was founded in 1873, and its original record book includes the names of the founding members and handwritten bylaws. A program from the 1905 National American Woman Suffrage Association convention held in Portland lists events, including Susan B. Anthony as a speaker. Newspapers became a common way to spread the word about suffrage activities in the late 19th century, including the New Northwest, published by suffrage leader Abigail Scott Duniway, beginning in 1871. After over 30 years of working for the cause, women in Oregon achieved the right to vote in 1912, 8 years before the National Amendment. Activists such as Lizzie Weeks, an African-American suffragist, helped encourage Oregon women to register to vote. Many women took the opportunity to exercise their right following passage of the Women's Suffrage Amendment. In the first 2 decades of the 20th century, grassroots activists across the country helped turn the tide for women's rights, beginning with canvassing and media publicity, and expanding into marches and protests. With the achievement of the 19th Amendment in 1920, most American women had the right to vote, but the struggle continued for some as the amendment did not guarantee rights for all. Nevertheless, They Persisted, the 19th Amendment and women's voting rights explores the challenges and struggles faced by the women and men who fought for women's voting rights, highlighting the long history of the suffrage movement and beyond.